Hey guys, this is part 3 of my Assassin's Creed retrospective thing that I'm doing. I haven't decided if I'm going to go through every single Assassin's Creed title yet. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do more. But I've already dropped videos on Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2, so if you haven't checked them out, please click the link on the screen to go to the playlist. Or else. I'm just kidding, but seriously, please watch these. My project draft files are starting to make me sound very desperate. So after Assassin's Creed 2 had some insane sales numbers and was all around just a massive hit for audiences and players, Ubisoft of course started development on their next title, originally going to be Assassin's Creed 3. Now, whether or not the early development was meant to be set in the American Revolution like the Assassin's Creed 3 today is, who knows, but due to the insane popularity of Ezio Auditore da Firenze and his story, developers decided to change gears a little bit and shift more to a DLC expansion for Assassin's Creed 2, titled Assassin's Creed 2 Episode 1. So they already knew they were going to do an episode 2. I mean, I don't know if that was going to be Revelations or if it was just going to be a bigger part of the Rome story. I don't know. I just find it funny how they're always thinking like 4 games ahead of themselves. This DLC expansion was meant to be set in a small portion of Rome, but development quickly got bigger and bigger and it grew to becoming a full-fledged title, Assassin's Creed Rome. Now throughout development, that was the name of the next Assassin's Creed game for a while, till the development team crafted the Brotherhood system that we get later in the game. And I mean, come on, it just sounds far more catchier, right? Assassin's Creed 2 was almost a perfect sequel, but still fell short with some of the janky nature of the engine, story plot beats just making no sense, and collectible hunting for days. There was so much in that game, I'm still not over it, I don't care. It makes me angry. But Ubisoft did take note of all the criticisms and decided to make this game more janky, more convoluted with some of the story beats, answer absolutely no questions that's popped up in the first 2 games, and quadruple the amount of collectible hunting. Guys, what? Why was this my favorite game in the franchise again? I mean, just look at this map. Now, I remember this game being peak Assassin's Creed way back in 2010 when I played this on my Xbox 360. But just like with Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2, nostalgia blinded me pretty hard to some of the glaring issues these titles had. So let's deep dive into Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and see if it's worth the hype. And also, let me put my tinfoil hat on and discuss my interpretation of Cesare's death. I don't think it's been speculated much in the fandom, so yeah, more on that later. Oh boy, that's gonna get the watch time up. Good job, me. So Assassin's Creed Brotherhood starts right where Assassin's Creed 2 left off, with Ezio confronting Rodrigo. Wait a minute, Ezio didn't have a goatee at this point. Hold on, let me see here. See, it's different. My immersion is ruined. After beating Rodrigo's ass, Ezio leaves him alive and heads back to Mario's villa, thinking his job is done. Dude can finally take a long-deserved nap. After flirting with some locals and then just banging Caterina Witcher style, the Queen of Folly. I mean, at this point, I feel like Ezio has slept with half of Italy. His poor girlfriend. Suddenly, an army of Borgia attacks the villa. I've heard of going balls deep, but this is ridiculous. So the Borgia are attacking because Pope Rodrigo, the guy that we spared, ran home crying like a little baby to new bad guy, Cesare, his son. He told him all about the assassins, the Apple of Eden, just all of those juicy details that as an assassin, you probably should have stopped Rodrigo spreading. I mean, at least Altair had the decency to kill the people he took information from after interrogating them. You know what? It's rare, but point goes to Altair here. I'm glad everyone in the Creed crashes out about him not killing Rodrigo. It was such a dumb play, and I'm glad everyone is kind of pissed off at him about it. So the Borgia attacks with an endless supply of PNGs, destroying the villa we worked so hard to build up in AC2, as well as Altair's armor, which also took us a long time to get. So yeah, I'm hashtag pissed. Now, gameplay-wise, this is the classic Metroid syndrome, giving the player a taste of full power and then stripping it away so that we can build Ezio back up to that point that we know and love him. But that took us 40 years in the last game, so yeah, Ezio's gonna be doing rooftop parkour in his late 80s. Actually, I said that as a joke, but it's not too far what they actually do. Kezia steals the piece of Eden, and I swear to God, if they throw a 10 years later title card, I'm gonna lose my shit. He also kills off Mario and kidnaps Katarina while giving Ezio a Goku scar.
Right, my tit!
Yeah, for sure, it's not a pretty good day to be Ezio. He does survive though, and he takes his family through a secret door in the sanctuary to escape.
Mario is dead. You must leave this place. Take mother to Firenze. Get me a horse!
Go, my son. Destroy them.
Mother, you can talk? Yeah, my immersion's completely ruined. I didn't find a single one of those goddamn feathers in the last game. Once everyone escapes, Ezio heads to Rome, but collapses due to his injuries. The sequence then breaks, and we're back in modern day with Desmond, Lucy, Rebecca, and... it's just Sean. I like this guy. They're heading to their next hideout because they're being chased by Templars and their last base got found. I mean, we scared them away, but better to be safe than sorry. The new hideout was actually the Auditore Villa in present day, which is pretty cool. It's nice to see it more modernized. So at this point, Desmond is basically Ezio 2.0. Him and Lucy do some parkour to get into the sanctuary through the back entrance, and then sets up an animus so they can carry on digging through Ezio's memories. Honestly, not much here, a bit of banter between the guys. It's nice to get a bit of slice of life, though I could have done without the fat shaming of Desmond.
Desmond's not pregnant, at least as far as I can tell. Might just have had a big lunch.
Middle Ages, probably. Luckily, the beams still hold our weight.
After all this time in the Animus, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but you're really getting fat.
Guys, considering I spend all day in a chair, I think I'm pretty agile, right? Don't see Sean doing parkour. Now their goal is the same as the last game, to find the last known location of Ezio's piece of Eden. I mean, we technically did that in Assassin's Creed 2, but we want to make more money, so just do it again. I will say the modern day sections in Brotherhood are handled so much better than the previous two games. Now at any time while he's playing around in Ezio's memories, Desmond can just leave the Animus and shoot the shit with the gang, or check in on emails between them. I mean, we're in a small space. I don't know why these guys are emailing such basic stuff to each other, but whatever. I'm just here to get paid. Wait, do I get paid for this stuff? Like I said, all slice of life stuff, nothing really big happens in these sections, and you don't have to do them at all, completely optional. But there was one moment I liked where Sean, after getting grassed up by Rebecca for stealing some yogurt from Lucy, he crashes out and accuses Rebecca of being a Templar, which I found pretty funny. Oh, lad, you were so close. You were so close, dude. Back with Ezio, he wakes up in Rome, and this to me, honestly, best looking city so far. The team has gotten so much better at making the world feel even more alive than the last two iterations. There's way more personality. There's different outside and inside sections. Districts seem actually more distinct from each other, like the rich and poor districts. There's even a whole area that's just the Vatican. It's a very pretty game. They did so well in Assassin's Creed 1 of this stuff. I'm really impressed they actually pushed the goalpost further and further with each game so far. Unc Ezio, and literally they refer to him as an old man now. I mean, he's just in his 40s, but to be fair, considering the time period, he should actually be dead now. He meets up with Machiavelli, who basically tells us we fucked up some by not killing Rodrigo. Ezio tries to justify this. We walk alongside Machiavelli, and he tells us that the Borgia have almost conquered all of Roma, and it's a pretty crappy place to live now. Just picture Birmingham when it was good. Now I need to take a minute here. We get, and I kid you not, 4 tailing missions back to back. And my god, the bloody tailing missions, I hate them so much. There are so many tailing missions in Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood, and I don't know why. Remember that one part in the Assassin's Creed 2 video where I absolutely hated these tailing missions in that game? Now I will say this is the beginning of Ubisoft's weird obsession with the tailing missions. There are so many of these in Assassin's Creed 2, and man are they repetitive. I hate these missions in the game. Well, the devs took note and added 100 more. You tail targets, allies, courtesans, mailmen, horses. It's ridiculous. Look at all the tailing on screen right now. There's too much. The game takes roughly 15 hours to beat, and I swear half of it is just this. It gets so repetitive, and if you fail a mission, oh boy, you know what your reward is? For example, there's this mission here where you have to get revenge for a girl that got roofied at a party. She walks pretty slow, she's very sick, and I got very bored, as you can plainly see. I was so bored, in fact, that when the game told me to do something else, I excitedly assumed I get to kill the dirtbag that roofied this poor girl. But no, that was wrong. Restart. Now, to be fair, I was a bit too eager. You have to beat this guy up, and then the woman's like, oh, actually, maybe it wasn't him. Follow me. Let's go do this 3 more times. But, oh God, I hate this so much. The tailing stuff does not get better, just gets worse, and it's just padding. It actually irks me almost as much as the stupid face scar between Desmond and his ancestors, but almost. So in order to free Rome, Ezio must take out all the high-ranking guards at these towers and then watch it all burn. This then frees up the district that the Borgia had control of for Ezio to go monopolize so he can get some spending money. There are 17 of each doctor, blacksmith, tailor, bank, art merchant to buy, so you better get to it. I like the economy style gameplay in Assassin's Creed 2. Building up the villa felt nice, it felt controlled, it felt like I was getting somewhere. In Brotherhood, I just feel like I'm just buying up shops and it doesn't really feel like it does anything. Once you own all of Roma, you're still bringing in a smaller bag than what you were bringing in with the small villa in Assassin's Creed 2. Explain that one to me. I guess inflation? Ezio can even buy historical landmarks like the Roman Colosseum. You remember in 4th grade history class where we learned about the random Italian guy with a white robe fetish bought up the entirety of Rome, right? I'm already starting to feel the busy work collectible hunting creep in, so I'm just going to get this all out of the way now. So with the Borgia Towers and the shops, you have to find more feathers again. Also, the best feature of Assassin's Creed 1 makes a return, flag collecting, and you know it's better this time because they added an extra flag. There are catacombs again to acquire a sexy new fit for Ezio. There's assassinations, viewpoints, faction missions, Templar assassinations, the oh yeah I had a girlfriend missions, armor upgrades, weapon upgrades, shop side quests, building up the Brotherhood, doing assassin NPC missions. There is so much goddamn busy work in Brotherhood. It actually makes AC2 not look as bad. And then that was pretty bad too. Oh, and again, don't forget Subject 16's back with more conspiracy theory time. So I better go look for the sigils on random buildings again. It's just too much. It's mentally exhausting just reading these off as a list. If anyone, and I'm being serious here, if anyone 100% at this game, let me know in the comment section. You deserve the biggest that a boy. And also some serious therapy. You need help. Okay, so let's talk about the meat of the dish, the gameplay. This is by far Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood's strongest positive. It takes everything from Assassin's Creed 2 and gives it to the player right out of the gate, with the exception of the dual hidden blade and the ability to jump up walls. Okay. These are unlocked in the story. The hidden blade I do understand. The secondary one we had was destroyed at the villa, so we had to get Da Vinci to make another one, but it's kind of weird that we lose the ability to jump up stuff. Again, this is kind of hand-waved by the story by stating Ezio is getting a little bit too old. Yeah, he learned this from the thieves in Assassin's Creed 2, didn't need any extra equipment to do it, but now he's an old man and needs a special glove crafted by Leonardo to allow him to do this. I appreciate they tried to explain it with his age, but it does come across a bit weird, right? But hey, they had to give us something to work towards. Everything else is here, and it's still a lot better than what Assassin's Creed 1 did. Combat is so much smoother this time around. When you're fighting against enemies, and there is a lot more of these that try to dogpile our little Italian boy this time around, but now you can do a finisher combo, which means as soon as you kill an enemy, you basically win the fight, as you can just aim at the next enemy and do an instant kill. It's actually super satisfying and makes the combat feel way more free-flowing, like another video game. The trade-off is it makes the game too easy, and I would go as far as to say kind of brain dead. But as a fan of the Arkham games, I can't deny it is pretty satisfying taking out an entire army like this. But my god, the camera likes to fuck with the player all the time. It always seems way more interested in a random tree during these fights than the 40 guards trying to penetrate me with pointy sticks. And I'll also say the same issue I had with Assassin's Creed 2 is, yeah, you can upgrade small weapons and larger weapons to give you a bit more variety in the fighting and different finishers, but why would you? The hidden blade is the best way to kill people. Yeah, sure, it has a much smaller parry window, but if you get the timing down right on this, it makes fights just a non-issue. It's always an instant kill, and like I said, it's just better than most other weapons. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I spent near enough the whole game doing this. Now the crossbow. This is the new weapon in AC2 Brotherhood, and it's now part of our weapon family, and it's actually amazing. I love this thing. It isn't brought up in story, it's not given to the player by some random NPC, it's something that you just have to go to a shop and buy, and you can do this as soon as you get into Rome. And 100% you should save up for this bad boy. Once you have the crossbow, you never need to use throwing knives or a gun again. It has the exact same strength as the pistol, but makes no noise and can be charged faster. Not to mention it has a much bigger ammo pool, and it's just a fun weapon to use. It's actually kind of ridiculous that they just threw this in as something you could buy. Couple this with the assassin underlings you can call in fights, this game is easy, man. Like, I get they're going for a massive power fantasy, but I feel like Ezio is in fact the best assassin to ever exist, because he can just do anything except climb a wall because he's old. The only real challenge I had in Brotherhood was some of the missions where you have to remain undetected, which I guess makes sense, we are essentially a ninja. But in AC2 Brotherhood, I don't know what they did differently to AC2 and 1, but as soon as you get clocked by a guard, it's an instant fail if you're not supposed to get caught, even if you are literally now about to silence him. Like, there's no way anyone was gonna know I killed this guy, but because he saw me before I sent him to his maker, I failed the mission. Most games give you a couple of seconds, 1 or 2 second cooldown when you get caught, just to see if you are going to kill that NPC so you can carry on with the mission. But nope, that doesn't count in Brotherhood. The man is now dead, but because he saw me, I'm a wanted man now. But they did implement a new system in the missions for AC2 Brotherhood for something to work towards during these missions, and honestly it is here just to add replayability. But now you're ranked on what you do in these missions. It's all about synchronizing with Ezio, which usually boils down to doing what the game says you have to do to kill a target. 9 times out of 10 it's kill target with X weapon or don't get caught. The creativity is so high with you guys. Good job, Ubi. You'll probably actually complete most of these by accident, but some of these can get a little bit difficult, especially with the time challenges, and you have to get 100% on every single mission to get the actual quote-unquote 100% save file. Ugh. And you know my thoughts on that. These games, man. Do completionists like the Assassin's Creed series? Because I don't know. I hate it. I used to achievement hunt when I was younger. I don't think I've played games this bad for 100% files. Another new mechanic is you can now throw weapons at enemies. It's pretty cool. The game absolutely never tells you can do this, so like me, you'll probably do it by accident and kill an innocent bystander in the process. I felt so bad about this, I never use this mechanic again. Totally not because I don't know how I did it. But yeah, that's most of what AC2 Brotherhood does differently or improves upon. And sure, yeah, it took a already really fun combat style from AC2 and just made it better. Massive kudos. Like, that is a tough thing to do, and I'm impressed they did it. But I do feel like because they spent so much time trying to improve these parts of the game, they kind of failed on giving like a engaging narrative or more complex mission structure. I'm starting to think the only reason people hold Brotherhood in such high regard and claim it's the best Ezio title in the trilogy is only because of the combat. The Assassin's Creed building, which yeah, is cool, I love it, but it is pretty shallow, like way shallower than I remember it being. I might be getting confused if Revelations has the same system. I can't actually remember, so we'll get to that when we get to that. And just the fact it's more Ezio time, which again, sure, if that's what you wanted, that's fine, but I do feel like they're kind of relying on just, hey, AC2 was good, this is just more of that, so this must be a better game. And I'm not really feeling it right now. I'm still kind of thinking AC2 is more well put together, but it's a little bit too early in the video to be writing off the game, so let's keep going. So after hanging out with Machiavelli, Ezio stumbles upon the disciples of Romulus. These are furries that really like blood in Elden Ring. So these are the catacombs from AC2, but this time there's actually a little bit more story to them. Nothing crazy deep, but it does progress as you find more catacombs up until you get the armor. Most of this does get told to the player at the last catacomb mission, where you have to tell a man of God in a church during mass, which is a cool idea. I'm really happy I wore my red hood today. You find out that the Borgia has infiltrated the church and they're using the cult of Romulus to spread the word to the people that the assassins are bad. That's kind of it. It's a more intelligent way of eliminating the assassins. They're struggling to do it themselves, so they're trying to use the people, but it doesn't really go anywhere, and especially because at the exact same time they're trying to plant the seed that we're the bad guys, the assassins are freeing the people and starting a revolution. So I don't know how this would work. Again, the strongest armor in the game is the one you get from these missions, but in terms of aesthetic, I think it's weak compared to Altair's fit. It's not bad per se, I just really preferred the Altair armor set, and in this game I actually rather rock Ezio's standard robes than the special armor. I think Ezio is pretty baller this time around. I really like the neck thing. So back to the story, we meet up with the head of the thieves, Levope. Bartolomeu is back, leading the mercenaries, and Claudia now runs the brothel. I guess they're in Rome too. Ezio is pretty furious about this, and I've seen people complain about Ezio being a bit out of character with Claudia. Like, why is Ezio getting so mad? But I kind of get it. What big brother wants to see their little sister working in a brothel? Except Cesare. So the reunited assassins come up with a plan to rescue Caterina from the Borgia, as she's getting used and abused by soon-to-be queen Lucrezia, Cesare's wife? Question mark? ... Foreshadowing. At the same time, they also want us to kill the Pope Rodrigo and Kezia, as they're both big bads, and I mean, we kind of have to right the wrong with Rodrigo. Unfortunately, we miss our opportunity to kill Rodrigo and Kezia, so the only thing we can really achieve is saving Caterina. After saving her, she heads back to Folly to reclaim an army to help us. We never see her again, and she dies of pneumonia off screen. Cool. So we haven't really done much so far, and at this point the game opens up a bit more. We now start to see more side objectives pop up. One especially is with Leonardo da Vinci. Now I didn't realize this at the time, but these are DLC missions. They're supposed to take place just before the point of no return at the end of the game. We're about 10 hours away from that, so I probably shouldn't have been playing these this early on. But why do they appear now? It seems kind of silly. I wanted to see my boy Leonardo, so of course I jumped on these missions straight away. Nothing told me not to do this. But I was very confused when they started to mention characters that haven't been in the story yet, and characters pop up in cutscenes I hadn't seen before. They even disclose big story plot points that haven't happened yet if you've jumped on these straight away. It's really weird. To sum this up though, Leonardo gets kidnapped and we have to retrieve a bunch of paintings to find out where he's being held, and we find a bunch of numbers. I feel like this is a retcon to try and fix why Ezio knows these numbers later in the story, but we'll get to that when we get to that. After a little while, there are some Leonardo da Vinci missions that are part of the base game where you destroy war machines that he's made for the Borgia. And again, these feel rushed and very out of place. They all take place outside of Rome. And we find out that he's been building literally every possible war machine known to man at this point. They have machine guns, flying machines that do not fucking work.
Huh?
Seriously, I spent over an hour trying to figure out what I was doing wrong with this machine in this mission. Sometimes it doesn't turn and you just keep going until you're out of bounds. Other times it just freezes in midair forever. You have to jiggle your controller around so it slowly wiggles to the bottom of the screen so you can restart the section.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Or it just kamikazes into the ground. This was so frustrating, it felt horrible. Now it turns out this wasn't actually an issue with the game itself, it was because I was playing the game above 60 frames per second. Once I knocked that down to a cap of 60, it ran buttery smooth, but I'm gonna complain about it because it happened to me, so yeah, fuck Leonardo da Vinci. He also made tanks and warboats. I don't know, man, they're taking some liberties with this character. I thought the guy just made silly paintings for a living. Is that the Mona Lisa? Look at the face, man. But helping him out does give us access to some new equipment, especially the dual blades. Completing them all gives us a parachute that are absolutely useless. I used it once to test it out and then never again. We also get flashback missions to our time with Christina, the girlfriend who was only in AC2 for a couple of seconds for a quick pump and dump. So I get what they were going for. They wanted to flesh out Ezio's character a bit more. And I'm sorry, they failed. These missions give me some serious like ick vibes with Ezio. The first one has a younger Ezio trying to flirt with his future conquest. I also want to note that I noticed Roger Craig Smith, who does Ezio's voice acting, does a much higher pitched version of it for young Ezio, and I don't think he originally did that in AC2 when he was this age, right? I could be wrong, but this sounds new.
Aspetta, I wasn't ready. I was planning on being really charming and funny, and I just have a second chance.
So after being rejected, Ezio does the most obvious thing.
Ezio, all is not lost. You made her smile. She will remember you now.
No, I can still fix these. I'll follow her ways. See where she lives.
Bro, you are given some major red flag vibes here. After stalking this poor woman, we save Christina from a night with the Patsy boy. Still unsure if I can actually say that. And that blossoms into their relationship. Okay, cool. So when Ezio follows a girl, it's charming and funny and cute. Oh, look at him. But when I do it, it's creepy and I get arrested. I do like some attention to detail in these missions. These take place at different times during Ezio's life in AC2, so his gear and skills change depending on what time period it is. That's a nice touch. The second mission takes place after he flees Florence and becomes an assassin with Mario. He doesn't return for years, and Christina is about to get married, as she didn't think he was ever coming back and probably was dead, because he was being hunted by the whole city. Ezio seems actually a little bit pissed off about this, and we head off and give the new significant other some advice. Not sure Ezio's the best person for that. Not only did he stalk this poor girl and pressure her into being with him, he also abandoned her for several years. But it's fine, Ezio's passing the torch, he's gonna leave and not, okay, we're gonna take Christina into an alley and just lick her face off. Ezio, she's engaged to be married, bro. The red flags are piling up. I don't know how people can say this is okay. I find this so gross. It really does honestly start to kill Ezio's character for me. It's just too much creeper energy, and it doesn't get better. It really doesn't. The next mission takes place during the Carnival. She's in Venice, and so is Ezio. We've got the mask, our identity is secret, so we sneak over to her and implant a secret letter in her pocket. This letter is telling her to go meet in an alleyway. Christina, thinking this is my husband being cute, goes there. Ezio's pretending to be her husband. Dear God, I can't even see the screen. The red flags are everywhere. Even if you want to make the argument that he wasn't pretending to be the husband, he was pretending not to be himself with full intention of just, again, trying to lick her tonsils. It's gross, man. I do not like it. And I think Ezio knows it's gross.
Ezio? What the hell are you doing here? How dare you?
Christina, it's all right.
All right? I haven't seen you in 8 years.
See, I was afraid you wouldn't come if I just asked.
You're right.
Yeah, that doesn't make it okay, bro. After what I would honestly describe as an assault, Christina walks away mad, and it's pretty valid. Now, this should be the end of it. He had a second chance, but he wanted to go chase his revenge. He lost his chance with this woman. Fair enough, she's moved on. But the last one tries to come full circle. This mission is her death, where she gets killed by a couple of guards. And here it's all about how they were soulmates and how, oh, I wish things were different. I don't know, girl. This relationship seems toxic as fuck. I don't like these missions. And I know a lot of people find the storyline heartbreaking and touching and oh, it's so romantic. It adds to Ezio's character, but I can't see that through all the red flags. Ezio in these added missions comes across as a creep, super gross. Anyway, that's the repressed memories done. Sorry, this part is a bit jarring. These random side missions pop up randomly and they don't really connect to the main story at all. So it just kind of seemed easier to knock them out in one big section. Back to Cesare, he's trying to build an army to take over Rome and become its new king. Particularly, he's using the Vatican in the process, as during this time period, the church held the most power in the city. The assassins don't like this, and they know that the Borgia consists of Templars, or at least they're Templar adjacent, which is enough for them. They want to stop this, and to do that, they need to start a revolution against the Borgia by freeing the people and training them to be assassins. This aspect of Brotherhood is so good. I love this plot story beat. Unfortunately, it is a bit shallow. There's no real memorable characters you recruit. They're just random NPCs. And once you fill up your roster, that's it. You can't hire anyone else. So if you're trying to diversify your creed, you end up just looking for people to rescue, and if they don't look how you want them to look, you leave them. Kind of fucked up when you think of it that way. I'm sorry, bro, but we need a woman on the team. You can train these assassins with missions, but they don't go very deep. As long as the success rate is met, they head off for 10 minutes, come back, bang, you got some money and experience. And then you can level them up. Like I said, pretty shallow, but the best part to me is Ezio can actually use them in the field to stealthily take out targets or just rain arrows onto unsuspecting enemies. It's really cool. You truly start to feel like you're a leader of the creed, and it also makes the game so easy. So just like with all ass games, we slowly start picking off the high-ranking members until we get to the main guys we need to kill. And we do this by taking out most of the Borgia family, till we just have Rodrigo and Cesare alive. Now, I'm tired of hitting a dead horse, but man, I find the target assassinations just as hollow as Assassin's Creed 2. These kills mean nothing. They are just a means to an end to get to the big guy. They are just bad people, nothing else of worth, no idealism, no remorse. They don't even try to justify their actions. It's just, heh, I'm the bad guy. You will never stop us. And sometimes they don't even get that. Sometimes Ezio doesn't humor them and he just tells them to rest in peace. It makes the targets feel like any other assassination side quest. They're nothing. Other than appearing in the first cutscene when they storm the villa, you rarely see these guys interact with each other. It's just, oh look, he's the fat guy who's perverted, okay. Or the banker who's just obsessed with money. It's very generic stuff here. The developers had it so right with Assassin's Creed 1. I don't know how they dropped the ball so hard and just never attempted to pick it back up again. Despite its glaring flaws, I respect Assassin's Creed 1 for trying to make the player at least think and question about what they're doing. I'm not saying it's the best writing in the world, it will change your life, but there was an attempt there to give you something satisfying, something to dive into. In Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood, it's just another day at the Assassin's Factory. Oh, better go off and kill some people. There's nothing else here. Killing the Borgia starts to slow down the men and funds going to Cesare's army, so he comes back to Rome to find out what the heck is going on. It's here where Rodrigo tries to kill his son, but fails spectacularly and then ends up dying himself to an apple. I want to say that's clever writing about how he was chasing the apple in Assassin's Creed 2 and we let him live, but it was an apple that still killed him. But I don't think the developers thought that far ahead. I think I'm reaching. Fortunately, before Cesare died to the poisoned apple, his wife ran in to tell him not to do it. Oh, sorry, did I say wife? Oh, we are going full Game of Thrones in this bitch. I'm not a big history buff, but I'm pretty sure there was no actual evidence that Cesare in real life was incestuous. I did a bit of research and there was some rumors about it, but I guess the devs just wanted to run with it. It does make this scene so gross though.
No. Only it gets quite lonely here. You and I spend so little time together these days, busy as you are with your other conquests.
Soon, once I have secured the throne of Italia, you are going to be my queen. And your loneliness will be a thing of the past.
So he escapes death and starts crashing out. Ezio races him to the piece of Eden, but Ezio does get there first. We get to play around with it, which allows us to control enemies and just outright kill them. Not too sure why it uses your health bar as a cooldown, but okay. I mean, it's pretty cool to finally be using it. Now, I kid you not, all we do for the next few years is just run after Cesare in Rome, showing off our cool new toy. Eventually, he does rightfully get arrested, but vows that these chains won't hold him and he will be back. This makes Ezio question if it's truly actually over for realsies. Wanting to make sure he looks into the apple and sees that, in fact, he does escape, so we have to go set it right. Didn't know the apple could do that. It originally just was a tool that could cause some illusions that could bend people to the will of the user. Now it seems to tell the future and the past. Sure, okay, precursor, orb, thing, whatever. This did make me think though, so Cesare did actually hold the apple. We see him at the villa holding it. So of course he probably played around with this powerful artifact. So maybe he did see in the future he would rise to power in Rome. I mean, he has been doing that this whole time. And the apple probably told him that no man would or could kill him, which explains why he is so cocky in the game and kept saying this every 10 seconds.
Chains will not hold me! I will not die by the hand of man!
Anyway, we head off to confront him one last time. But honestly, in a pretty big brain move, he put armor around his throat, stopping Ezio from insta-killing him. Honestly, he deserves to win with that. That is actually huge. Unfortunately, our horse dies. Resquiet in pace. And now it's time for the final showdown. Man versus man, the end game, people. We're here. If the cutscene actually played out, I don't know what happened here. For some reason, when I walked into the arena, it just didn't trigger anything. So it's just a dance party. Kezia is a beefy boss fight, but I found out that there was one area he forgot to protect.
Ooh, 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 ooh. He keeps kicking me in the dick. Why? Why does he keep kicking me in the dick?
We did kick him a few dozen times and he preaches about how no man would kill him, and he ain't wrong.
You cannot kill me. No man can murder me.
Then I leave you in the hands of fate.
Huh?
We then get some seizure-inducing flashes that show what I assume is Cesare holding the apple. And I think this validates my theory with him playing around with it and why he thought he would rise to power and not be killed by any man. I wonder if the apple also showed him he would bang his sister. Stupid fetish apple. Ezio then stores a piece of Eden under the Roman Colosseum. We cut back to Desmond and gang and they head there to acquire the apple. Thankfully, the precursors were a big fan of parkour, as it seems all their engineering actually requires it. Touching the apple, Desmond meets Juno again, and she talks about how she gave humans all these senses except the most important one, the sense of knowledge. I'm not sure that's how senses work, but whatever, the game's almost over. She also talks about how we would have to do something really, really bad in order to save the world. Desmond just doesn't know what that is yet, and he won't know till it's too late. And oh, would you look at the time? Juno uses the piece of Eden to Almulim Lucy, saying that without her, things will proceed as planned, and that Desmond must find a mysterious woman in order to complete the prophecy. So with Lucy dead, that's the end of the game. During the credits, we get a little teaser of Desmond being put back into another animus. Damn it, I forgot about Subject 16 again. So after doing 16's treasure hunt around Rome, finding his glyphs and doing a few little mini games, just like with Assassin's Creed 2, we get a video declaring some truth. And this time it is super underwhelming. It's just some text on screen, doesn't make much sense. The game decides to execute the video file as a program, something you can't actually do. And this gives Desmond a parkour section from to play around in, which eventually leads to him actually getting to talk with Subject 16 himself. And come on, you know this is going to make absolutely no sense, right? He talks about feeling pretty weak, probably due to lack of blood. And again, more conspiracy stuff that again does not make any sense. He talks about the sun being bad again, about it expanding, and something about Desmond's son. Now, without subtitles, you just assume he's talking about, you know, the big sun, but if you use subtitles, you can tell it's actually supposed to be sun. Before he can clarify anything else, he dips, telling Desmond to meet him in the dark room, something that won't be even a thing until Assassin's Creed 2 Revelations. I'm gonna be honest, this isn't even a breadcrumb. This is like a microscopic teaser just to get people to play the next title. At least with Assassin's Creed 2, we got something of substance with the truth side plot. I mean, yeah, we will get more clarifications in the next title, but man, I hope this eventually goes somewhere and doesn't get forgotten about in later titles. I just feel like they're starting to run out of ideas on how to keep the player engaged and hooked for the next title in the series. The whole modern day narrative is getting too confusing for its own good, and without any questions being answered, all we're getting is more and more stuff we have to be aware of, and I'm gonna spoil it, it doesn't go anywhere. If I had to try and glean at least something from what Subject 16 talks about, when he mentions trying to find Eve, I'm assuming he's talking about the descendant of, you know, Adam and Eve. And then implying that Desmond will have a son, I'm starting to get the connection that Desmond probably is an ancestor from Adam himself, and it's going to be a whole Adam and Eve story. I mean, the Apple of Eden's a big thing in these titles, so it's not much of a stretch. But honestly, that's just me trying to overanalyze. I don't know. We'll talk more about that in Revelations. But that's what we get from Subject 16 this time. There's nothing really to analyze, so anyway. And that's Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood. Mechanically, honestly, a better game. The story is more simple, but easier to follow in my opinion. I do wish there was more Templar stuff. The Borgia kind of got a bit boring for me. And it's odd that the scope being far smaller actually made the game feel easier to digest. But on the other hand, it meant the devs needed to bloat the game out with so much meaningless quests and side objectives just to squeeze in a kind of mediocre 15-hour playtime. There are positives. The combat is refined. The landscapes are so much better. AC2 Brotherhood took AC2's game and just improved mechanically on top of it. And that's all this game really did, made a much better version of AC2. And for a lot of people, that might be enough, but I'm gonna upset a lot of people here. I found AC2 far more gripping and far more enjoyable than Brotherhood. And that was not the case when I was younger. Some of the side content is in fact fun, but nothing connects to the main plot, whereas in AC2, it did. That game also had some insane growth for Ezio. This time around, he doesn't change. I love the guy, except his relationship ethic, but I do feel like he should have been a one and done assassin, just like Altair. Sure, bring him back as a cameo character for some random conspiracy stuff like they did with Altair, but he didn't need another game. I just feel like I don't get much from his story now. Even the precursors said his time was done at the end of AC2. His story was complete. He'd done what he was supposed to do. But in all their wisdom, they seem to forget we had 2 more games with the fella. Also, the engine's starting to show its age. There's way more jank in Brotherhood that actually rivals Altair's era to a degree. But a lot of that could be modern hardware, so I'm not going too hard on that. It's a good sequel, but looking from a more critical eye, it's DLC to Ezio's story. I'm sorry. You cut out all the bloat. The story probably only takes a couple of hours to blast through. It should have been a DLC expansion. There was no big what the fuck moments except right at the end to tease the next game. Nothing answered from the first 2 games. Altair and the Templar smooshing booties doesn't get brought up. We don't know what Abstergo's planning, and in fact, they don't even show up in this title. Nothing about the sun exploding. It just feels like it's more Ezio time, which is fine, but we're only 3 games into a 31 game franchise, and it already feels like it's peaked story-wise and writing-wise. That's not good. But let me know what you think. Am I completely off base, or do you feel the same? As always, I'm in the comments section for a while when a video drops, so I'm happy to discuss. I like the title. This is not a bad game. But after playing these 3 back-to-back, I don't know, I feel like Assassin's Creed 2 just did more and pushed the envelope further, whereas Brotherhood felt like a safe cash grab to me. As always, a massive glaze to you guys that support me over on Patreon. The support is never taken for granted, I assure you. You guys are the sister to this channel's Cesare. I swear I don't go out my way to make these gross. And if you would like to join up as well and get a shout out at the end of every single video, click the link on screen and sign up. I've started posting old reviews that for one reason or another, I never posted on the channel. The first one was one I did on Bayonetta years ago. These are exclusive to Patreon, so if you're interested, I'll see you over there. Thank you, Bitstab, Ali Tato, Chris Spicer, The Shane 209, Critical Quacker, and Redfish. I'll see you in the next video. As always, stay safe out there and stay fashionable, gents. Tie out. Peace. Guess it's time for Assassin's Creed Revelations.